Yo, what's up, everybody? It's the Good Life Podcast, the Kickback. We are back again. Second show, man. We was just talking about it. Feel like we was just doing this. Feel like we was just doing this yesterday. You feel me? How
Hey,
you feeling, man?
I feel good. Welcome back to my Good Life family, man. I feel great. I'm ready for today's show.
Yeah, I am too. I always get excited when it's show day because we get to see the people. We get to have some real conversation and just give perspective. You know what I mean? We can't really tell people what to do or what's best for them to do. So hopefully we keeping the conversations going and getting the conversation started. You dig? So I'm one of your hosts, Good Life Russ. It's good to be back. Good to be back. What you go
I'm
by,
not.
man?
You see it down there.
You sticking with that name?
I'm sticking with it.
I mean, I
Good
like the
Life
name.
Twan, yeah. I mean, it's the brand, man. We gotta keep the brand strong, man. Y'all read this shit. Y'all see what this say? Okay. Kickback. It's the podcast, y'all.
You can tell them who made it too, man, and we can get our shout outs going.
Definitely big shout outs to Ronald Dodds, man. Dream Doors, go check him out. He got his clothing line, man. He got a couple different little merches that he got uploaded right now. Some brand new jogging suits and everything. Tap in with my brother.
Yeah, he's doing it big, bro. I was going through bro's page, seeing the different stuff he got going on, and like you were saying, constantly marketing, constantly promoting. That's something we really have to get in the habit of doing because marketing is a huge part of business, one of the biggest parts. So we got a special guest tonight. Thursday is going to be guest day. We're going to have people we know come on, um, people we don't know, any and everybody. You dig is going to get this vibe. So we got my boy coming on, my boy Meech, my boy Darian. He go by a lot of different things. You dig. And he gonna tell y'all, about him and who he is. I don't really like to get into all that. I like people talk about themselves. So while we waiting for him to pull up to the show, how you feeling today, my brother? How's your day going?
Man, it's been a good day, man. You know what I'm saying? I won't do no complaining, bro. You know, the normal everyday thing, man. Being adults, living and
Hmm.
working. This is life.
Same here, bro. Like I'm learning, take things one day at a time. It's easy to want to get sped up. It's easy to want to look ahead. You dig? But I feel like there's a lot going on in a moment that sometimes we miss because we be too far ahead. And I'm learning just to slow down a little bit. You dig? That's some of what we're gonna talk about today too. Cause when you gotta grow up fast, you know what I mean, life is gonna throw you a lot of different curves. Life's gonna give you also a lot of different opportunities. So just like we on this opportunity doing the show right now, you know what I mean? Like we all started from somewhere and we came to this point. My guy, what up?
What up with it, man?
Nothing chilling, man. We was telling the people you gonna introduce yourself and tell them who you are.
Okay, well, my name is Darian. Battle rap community known as Doc Doctor or the Battle Rap Doctor. I am a manager. I am also a flight attendant in my day to day life. Um, and I'm a father, brother, bunch of other different things. So yeah, and a Buckeye fan,
Oh
national
man.
champion,
Go
Oh
stay.
national champion. OH.
I don't want
I
to hear it.
oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Until y'all beat us, I don't want to hear it.
It doesn't matter.
Y'all got
This
beat
guy.
us.
Yeah, man.
Different topic for a different day, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was there for that this year. That was
My
painful.
brother just drive about 10 minutes up the street to Old State.
Yeah, listen. Backyard. So the people want to know, I want to know. Like how did you get into battle rap? Like how did that come into fruition?
so I've been a battle rap fan my entire life. Well, hyperbolic, but you know what I mean. Just
Hmm.
since I could get on YouTube and see Reed Dollars and Murder Mook and Lux and DNA and Niggas remember Louis and shit, smack DVDs from there. You know what I'm saying? From it for as long as I could remember, I've always loved battle rap, you know. So there was always an interest, and then getting into the culture started through the Twitter Spaces. So Twitter Spaces, there was a movement called EFM. It was fairly new, but it was just, you know, a couple guys used to go and talk about a rap with a bunch of fans. I ended up joining, kind of joining that community, being able to talk about battle rap, things like that. And then we came up with an idea as I got closer to the guys to start a battle rap league via the Twitter Spaces, and it ended up being a big thing. It's a couple guys that's pretty like they're growing stars in the culture now after starting rapping for on their phones. It's really interesting. Complex Magazine actually wrote an article about me and my friends, um, and like the movement that we had a couple years back. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's been a beautiful journey since it began.
So what is it like at the events? What's it like in the atmosphere?
You got to be there. It's every battle rap event is different. You know, it's different flavors. I mean, you got your King of the Dot stuff. You know, it's, you know, not to say there's no black people, but you know more crowd geared to that. You got your URL events. You know, it's all traditional. You know, the smack vibes. You know, nothing really like it. You got other leagues, I Battle, OSBL, where you know the vibes could just be different, but it's always it's very community driven. Um, for the most part, you know, battle rap does get a bad rap from within the culture, but I'm not gonna lie, grand scheme, man, it's a great thing, very welcoming, very fun. And people that are there for the bars, man, you always gonna get what you want. So it's a different kind of community, man, but I love it. It feels so traditional to like the black experience, to the hip hop experience. Like, you know, I think it's the purest form of hip hop and always will be. So it's super dope. You're a hip hop head, battle rap is for you.
Hmm. And it's
Hmm.
always been a part of the culture. Like even when we was younger, we used to freestyle, come up with
Hmm.
raps, and it's
Yeah.
funny like seeing where people took those avenues and took those journeys. You dig?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I could have been a battle rapper. I could have chose to try to pursue that. You know what I mean? But um, the management thing just kind of fell on my lap. You know what I and I still enjoy it. So yeah, it's crazy how many. It's crazy. I think it's the same in the music industry. Like a guy like P, you know, who runs QC. Like I'm sure he freestyled in circles. I wouldn't be surprised if he's made a song before. I don't think that he was just a businessman. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You still have to love hip hop in some kind of way to be able to get involved. So um yeah, it's just crazy where it can take you. You know what I mean? When you apply your personal self to whatever it is that you love, you never know where you can go with it. So I think it's a beautiful thing personally. And I think it's beautiful that black people got all these opportunities within something that we all love, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah.
So how do you find time? You gonna say something, Tom?
Nah. Y'all go ahead.
How you find time to balance between that and work and being a parent?
Um man, it's challenging. It's challenging. I think battle rap doesn't really like, I wouldn't say that it gets in the way too much. It can when you care, you know, and I manage about 9 different rappers. So it can, you know, when you're trying to make sure everybody's okay. But I found balance doing it for so long. Here and there, you know, you have your moments, you know what I mean? I think that the biggest challenge, if I say of the three, would be balancing parenthood and, you know, the traveling work, because it it's very tough. I mean, the money's so good, but you still got to go make it. You know, and when you're trying to make the money
Hmm.
and trying to be home, it can be very, very challenging, especially when you know the family split and things like that. It's not easy to do. But I think that you just got to order and organize priorities. You know what I mean? Like I know that me being a parent is more important to me than anything else. You know what I mean? But I also know, you know, in this society, I need money to live. I need money to be able to take care of my daughter properly. at
Mm-hmm.
least in one component, one aspect. So it's a tough balance, man. But I'm lucky to have had a child with somebody that's not that understands that. Um, but for me, it's an internal struggle, man. You want to be the best parent you could possibly be, always. You want to be, but so when you feel like you're slipping or you're failing in some regard, it's tough, bro. It's very tough. But um, we make it happen. It's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we do.
That's
It's
a
all part
fact.
of it. Yeah.
How's
So
that for you, Twan? How's that balance?
Man, like he said, I mean, it's trying. It's a trying thing. I make the best of it with the family being split. It's like, you know, it's either gonna have time and no money, or money and not a lot of time.
you a flight attendant too?
Nah, 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 nah.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Just be
Okay.
working away from home. I think he's asking in general about the parents and being able to balance the two.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Fact. Okay.
but yeah, nah, man. Kudos to you, because I don't know how you do it, my brother.
It ain't easy, bruh.
The
It
air ain't
ain't.
for me, man.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not easy, but it's we got to make it work, man. Like you said, we don't want to be broke out here, but at the same time, we still got to do what we got to do and make sure we being the best possible, especially as black fathers, man. I mean, I know it seems like we beating a dead horse with this conversation, but it's you got to. It's such an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's mom actually called me the other day, and she was like, "Man, my daughter it will be 4 in a couple months." And she's now getting into a phase where she gets angry about being told no, so she'll lash out and try to hit her.
Oh man.
She'll pick things up, try to hit her like her mom,
Yeah.
right? And right after she might be like, "Where's my dad?" You know what I mean? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
tough. It's tough, like because I'm not the custodial parent. I'm not there every single day, and I think that she craves that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very tough. It's very tough. But I mean, you got to make it work. You got to find balance. It's there's no room for giving up. You know.
Yeah, I mean, along the journey, my daughter 10, so I mean, it's been a while, ongoing thing. Uh, one thing I just picked up is, as long as my intentions and heart stay in the right place, man,
Mhm.
I don't let nothing be too heavy on me when it come to being a parent, man. And
Right.
at the end of the day, obviously you want to be the best father you can be. But in order for you to be the best father you can be, you gotta be almost at your best. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
so is stepping away, me physically not being there to be a better me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's giving me that ultimate goal that I'm doing this to be a better parent. You might not understand right now in this moment, but it'll come to you later. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And it's difficult, And like I said, the big word that I'm gonna always use is that as long as my intentions is good, because something
Hmm.
might not always pan out the way I want it to. I might say, hey, I'm gonna take this job because I think it's for the better of me and my daughter and X, Y, Z, and it don't pan out that way. But as long as I know where my intentions was when I made that decision, I know that I had my daughter best intentions at heart. Like, man, everything don't go as planned. Everything don't turn out the way we want to. And I mean, as
That's
black
number
fathers,
one. That's number one though. Always keeping them in mind. Every decision I make. Like every decision I make, they say having kids change you, and I think that it does change people that want to be involved because I think y'all would agree with me. Everything you do, big, small, whatever, you always are going to think about how it affects the kid. You know what I mean? In some facet, it's like, hey, you want to go on this
Mm-hmm.
trip? Oh man, can I go on this trip? Nah, I gotta make sure I take care of this. Or hey, you wanna do this? You wanna do that? I mean, it could be a slew of things. So, but you always gotta have the purest of intentions because we still got lives to live too.
yeah,
We still gotta
Mm-hmm.
we still gotta make ourselves smile all the time. all the time. If we're not happy, we can't be happy for our kids. So yeah, good intentions, because even, when you're co-parenting, you could be in a situation where the other parent might not be getting the help that they want on the day to day, and we live in different states, so it could be affecting them negatively, where they could be taking it out on you, and it's just like, hey, like, I got the paper trail to prove like my intent. You never have to ask me to buy pull-ups. You never have to ask me to buy groceries. You never have to ask me to even be there. It's just a
Right.
matter of what I gotta do here and what I gotta do here. They're gonna always clash. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So it's just about finding balance, man. Balance is
Hmm.
key.
And
Balance
we
is
gotta
everything.
add patience too to that equation,
Mhm.
because we gotta remember, like, as children, they don't have all the facts. They don't know the whole story until they know the story. You dig?
Mhm.
They only know what they know right now. So we know there's more that's gonna happen. We know they're gonna grow up and feel different ways. They're gonna say different things. You dig?
Right.
So we're at the point now where, yeah, a lot of times our biggest battle is finding peace and finding that happiness and still living your life. A lot of
Right.
times we get too attached to our kids' lives, and we have to remember, like, they're gonna grow up one day. You feel me? They're gonna want their own life
Absolutely.
and their own space. You dig? So it's a two-sided thing, as everything
Mhm.
is. You dig? It's duality, and we have to come into every situation looking for those both sides, whether it's your career, whether it's children, whether it's your craft. You dig? Like, there's going to be not so pleasant days, and if you
Always.
can't weather them storms, you might have to reconsider, like, your commitments. You dig? But
You know how
when it
many
comes to
times
kids,
I thought about quitting a lot, man. A lot. I consider quitting, like, man, is it worth it? You know, because your conscience will get to you too, man. Even with good intentions, it's like we all got an idea of what we want our lives to be. I never thought
yeah.
that I would be a part of a broken family. I never
Hmm.
thought that any of these dynamics would exist. You asked me, I thought I would have married her, at a point in time, but shit happens. So
Hmm.
you always got to be willing to compromise, man, to make sure you keep a level head, and don't let bad moments think you got a bad life, you know.
Yes.
Because a
Yes, I
lot of
agree.
times I thought my life was fucked up, like, because I'm not the father that I want to be. I'm not a bad father by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think
Hmm.
I'm all the way what I want to be though. But I had to learn that that's always going to be a thing, even
Yeah.
if my daughter was living with me, here with me every single day. Like, I know that'd be a thing. It'll just be something different. So my battle just happens to not be traditional, but regardless, it's not nothing that I can't overcome.
Yeah. I think that is the epitome of being a good parent. It is your intentions and your efforts. You dig? It's you having this conversation, you feeling these things, because we ain't always going to be able to directly affect something that's happening, but we can always learn from a situation. We can always understand our position in the situation and what's happening. We can grow from it. You dig? So, like, I truly believe, like, on some kind of level, like, what's happening is supposed to happen, like, with our peers and in our lives, because we have to redefine family. And a lot of us can agree that we grew up trying to fit into this idea of who our family convinced us we should be, and it didn't work. Like, and we had to spend time reconstructing who we were, and some people still are reconstructing. You dig? And I think in the midst of that is we have to redefine family. We all kind of have a sense of what family means, but it means something different to everybody.
What does it mean? What does it mean to you?
To me, family is community. Family is the people I think about every day. The people who my direct actions affect. The people who, if, like, when I'm no longer here, like, they'll feel it and they'll
Mm.
feel something missing. You dig? Like,
So it's like
and
legacy also.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because you have to, if you want to plant seeds, like, you have to plant those seeds into people. because you're not always going to be able to plant seeds. You ain't always going to want to plant seeds. You dig? So sometimes we got to give ourselves grace and relinquish, like,
Mhm.
we're trying to do too much. And
Mhm.
there's a chance that we're going to do all that and then not even be received, and people not even understand what you was trying to do.
Mhm.
So what I
I
Yeah.
think
always try to do, you dig, is
that
pour
that
into
topic
people.
that you just hit, Tim, not to
Yeah.
cut you off,
Nah, go ahead, brother.
but I think that's the battle with being a man in today's society, is to being able to understand that you will 90% of the time be unappreciated.
Hmm.
You know, um, you know, you do, and like you said, sometimes it's not reciprocated, sometimes it's not even recognized. Like
Yeah.
Can I push back on that though?
Yeah, go
I,
ahead.
I'll say this, right? I think that a lot of the things that I've been through with women in general, push me to those ways of thinking. You know what I mean? I don't think it's misogynistic. I just
Hmm.
think that it's something that, like, I think it's just an easy answer. But also what I say is I think that women kind of deal with that on the other end too. You know what I
well,
mean?
my
I think it's just two different fights, but I think it's a fight nonetheless. I think that everybody's in question. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When it comes to, the dynamic of man and women, like, I think everybody's always in question. Like, I do have moments where I think about things that happened to me by the hands of a woman. You know what I mean? Or by
Hmm.
the actions of a woman, where it's like, damn, women be on this type of shit. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I'm sure they do it too, where it's like, oh man, niggas be on this type. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's you know,
Yeah, but when I say that, I'm not groupalizing that to us being in a relationship or even a woman. I'm saying in today's society, like a black man, like
word,
even in the
facts.
workplace, like what I'm saying, when you simple it down to just a woman, then yeah, I get the pushback because
Mm,
like you said, it's a scapegoat. But I'm talking about overall, like what I'm
word.
saying, being a black father, it ain't even necessarily got to be from the family. Even as being in the community, you look at the system. You can be in your child's life every day. You can do for them every day, and the mother can say, "Well, hey, I want this done this way." And yeah, it's ways to fight around it, but the initial ruling goes to the woman right away, with no questions asked. You know what I'm saying? Your child is not born with the right of you being his father. Like, you got to go through a trial to even be a kid's father now at this
Getting
Which
them
point.
is
legitimized.
crazy.
You
Which
know what
is
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
they,
insane.
the
your
process of
kid
getting
is
them
born
legitimized. Yep.
like
Facts.
not basically your kid at this point when you a black man. So I mean, can you only imagine the stress when I say being unappreciated? It don't have nothing to do with your significant other or anything like that. I'm just saying, in today's world, in the life that we live, like stuff like that, the courts,
Mhm.
like, I mean, in Ohio it's terrible when it come to that. That's definitely a whole nother topic for a whole nother
Mhm.
day. But I just wanted to put that out there, like, not necessarily just saying in home being unappreciated. I'm just saying in today's society, the black man is 90% of the time unappreciated and not acknowledged for the work that they put in.
Mhm.
And like you said, it goes around in the culture, in both parties, but
Yeah,
I
it's like
think
just being black. Period. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's a, it's a it's the most beautiful thing to be, but it's also it can be one of the most treacherous things to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing in the place that we built and that we from. There's nothing here that's for us per se.
Hmm.
There's nothing here where it's like going to be designed for us to win. There's nothing. We
Yeah.
we don't we don't we don't have a leg to stand on with nothing
I see
as
both of
black
y'all
people.
sides, and I definitely agree with what both of y'all saying, and that's kind of like the paradox that we're all trapped in. You dig? Like the whole black men don't need black women, quote, like the things that's on social media. And it's because our intentions are pitted against each other, and what we're trying to do is motivate each other through these different battles that we're going through. So what we're doing in that sense, I feel, is natural. That's what we should be doing. And what's kind of hindering our growth is the world has become too sensitive. Like, we can't hold each other accountable. We can't educate each other when we out of line. And that's really what's creating this barrier between us to where we got to feel like, all right, it's the strongest survives, like we at war
Right.
with each other essentially. So no matter what conversation you have with someone you at war with, it ain't gonna be pretty. Like it's not gonna be
Mhm.
positive. It's gonna be strategic. And a lot of the conversations we have to have is strategic, is because we're both fighting the same war, but we feel like it's separate. And we have separate reasons for why we feel like we're fighting. But at the end of the day, we've been fighting for how long and what has changed? That's
Yeah.
always my challenge, to couples. Like, y'all did a lot of arguing, now what?
Hmm.
And sometimes people argue so long, they tired. They don't even have energy for the relationship anymore. They don't have energy for the friendship. They don't even talk no more because it's like, man, we spent a lot of energy arguing about who
Burn,
knows what
burning each
now.
other out.
You know what I mean? And what's really happening underneath is we have our own internal battles. Like nobody has beef with each other. You dig? They got their own obstacles they trying to face, and we just getting projections of that battle. They little time bombs and landmines. You dig? And we're trying to help, and we're trying to get in. And accountability is the best way we can help. Like there's a lot of healing we got to do, and we've been tucking a lot of it away and burying a lot of it, and it's coming back. You dig?
Right.
Like it's not gonna go nowhere until we address it. So I definitely see both sides, and I agree, but I also think that's how we became great, is we held ourselves to a different standard as black people. We always expected greatness out of each other. And yeah, sometimes that feels personal, and sometimes that feels condescending, but I would expect my brother to expect me to be my best at all times and never allow me to be weak or be crushed or be a victim. You dig? And a lot of that's been happening since the internet because we've seen too much. We know too much trauma, we know too much hurt, so now we coddling each other. And that's not good for us either.
Hmm. Yeah.
You feel me?
Transparency is needed, and I think that that's the difference between black people and like other races and other, whatever the case may be. I think that we see things, at least in a general sense, maybe not every individual, but I think that more in black people you'll see a mentality of like being a victim, or like
Mm-hmm.
no togetherness, or like a lack of
Mm-hmm.
togetherness compared to, like, you go to different communities. Think about it like this: you go to a black community, right? We got our neighborhood stores we go to, different shit, you know what I'm saying, that we just know we fuck with it. Like my mom had a crib over off McGuffey. You know what I'm saying? That's the crib I grew up in. The corner store is a three-star corner store. Family Dollars over there, all these different spots. Black people don't own none of it. We
Mm-hmm.
don't own none of it. But then, like, in Atlanta, I grew up the other half of my life there. In Atlanta, you go on Buford Highway or something, whole street, the Mexicans own everything. They
Mm-hmm.
live over they live over there. They got restaurants, they got flea markets, they got this, that, and the third. They own all that shit. You know what I mean? I go to Pakistan neighborhoods. They own all that shit. White neighborhoods. Do I really got to get into that? I mean, it's just like we the only ones ain't got it figured out. We ain't got
Mm-hmm.
nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We and though I think that there are more things against us that make things harder, it doesn't change the fact that we are our own worst enemy, though. Don't change that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think what needs to happen is we have to rediscover our way. We have to rediscover our contribution to the culture. And I think for a
Mhm.
while, generations have just kind of recycled what was already done. And I think what's
Right.
happening now is it's time for something new. And we are the originators. And a lot of times the stuff we're copying other people doing is they stole from us. You dig? Like,
Mhm.
so we got to get back to understanding like we are the pioneers. And that's going to change a lot of people's mindsets. Because when
Yeah.
you're the pioneer, you're going somewhere to create, but you're not
Yep.
staying there. This isn't for you. You're creating this for other people to come cultivate. Then you got
You're
to go
laying a
do the next
foundation.
thing. Yeah. Then
It's
you
kind
got
of
to go
like
do the
planting the
next thing.
seeds, like you were talking about. Like
Hmm.
planting the seeds. I got a Sankofa tattooed on me. If you know anything about the Sankofa, it's about planting seeds to the generation after you. So when they move forward, they know how to operate. You understand? That's the overall gist of what it is. So like I try to live by that, making sure I'm teaching the right things, making sure, and just leading by example, making sure I'm not repeating, shit, fucked up cycles and things like that, So yeah, I'm all the way with you. I'm all the way
Yeah.
with you.
I think these conversations are, some of those foundations got to be laid. And also it's exactly what you were saying. It's having those conversations with the kids directly. We've had countless people before us leave behind money that got misspent or stolen, or you dig, that can't be the only thing we leaving behind. Like it has to be something of substance and value, you dig?
That's
Mm-hmm.
a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that. Yeah, and I think I don't know what it would take for us to get there as a collective, um, or even like just a majority. Like I don't know what it would take. I mean, it's leading by example seems like the right
Mhm.
thing to do. It's just it's not enough people doing it.
I
And
think
we're
we're doing
fed.
it.
Mm,
I think we're doing it. I think just there's going to have to be an elephant in the room that gets addressed that a lot of people don't want to address.
mm,
And a potential reality might be we do all the work and we don't reap any of the benefits. We just do the work. And I
that
think
sounds like America.
that's what's tripping a lot of people up is they looking for the reward. They want to be a part of the success and a part of the end product, but you may just be the one to get it started. That may be your position and you got to accept that to fulfill your destiny, you dig?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if we keeping it black, yeah,
Yeah,
I
cuz it
understand
got to
that. I
start
mean,
Yeah,
somewhere.
cause I
definitely.
mean, I don't know. I just look at it like, cause what you just explained is literally what America was built on. I mean,
Yeah.
almost. It's obviously some differences, but it's like we did all the work, built all this shit
Mhm.
brick by brick, and we don't own hardly any of it. We don't own none of it. We're not in charge of
Mhm.
nothing. We don't call no shots, but we built this whole shit. It's really crazy to think about. That's gonna segue into reparations and voting. I don't even want to do that, but that's a
I don't
whole.
know, bro, cuz that's what we do. We built the pyramids too. Ain't nobody trying to claim them.
Yep.
Maybe it ain't about that. You dig? We making it about that because we in the future. We trying to be too futuristic. We trying to do things too different. You dig? And we're trying to build our own instead of using the earth. Like we use a lot of technology.
Hmm.
We really displaced with nature. A lot of us. You know what I mean? So I definitely see what you're saying, and I agree. You dig? But I feel like I agree more with we are our own worst enemy.
Right.
And a lot of it comes down to habits and discipline. And it's things that we know and it's things we were brought up and taught and we don't
Right.
even do anymore. You know what I mean?
Discipline is
Hmm.
a big,
No, hundred
big part
percent.
of it. I mean, I want to say
Yeah.
discipline is one of the most important parts of it.
Hmm.
Habit. I tell
Hmm.
people when you do something that you just do it. You know what I'm saying? When you continue to do it, it become a habit of yours. And once it's
Hmm.
a habit and it's something you continue to do, it kind of become your character. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
just
saying? Like
being
that's
being consistent. Just
yeah.
being consistent.
Hmm.
Being consistent, not slacking in that regard, making sure you are who you say you are, and you act as you say you are.
Hmm.
And carry yourself as you want to be viewed upon. So, yeah, no, I get that.
But I feel like we got to get back to the fundamentals. Like I was literally having a conversation the other day, and a question like that arose: like, how do we start building together, and how do we start planning? And I was like, it's funny how a lot of things that we felt like we were forced to do is what we should be doing. Like a lot of
Hmm.
people haven't been to study table since high school, and that's a problem. That's a big problem.
Hmm.
You dig? So like, what are we doing with our time? And then that just makes me feel like we felt like we had to be there. That was the only reason we was there.
Feel like our study tables are just different. I mean,
They're drinking
you know,
tables.
I,
They
I, I,
card
I
tables.
yeah, drinking tables, card
We-
tables. I mean, Twitter Spaces, podcasts. I mean, I feel like those are our tables. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
don't think that they're negatives. I just
It's
think
not
that
negative, but it's also like what work are we doing? Like what tangible work? You know what I mean? We do a
yeah,
lot of work in theory. We do a lot of work with ideals. but like how are we putting these things to the test? And not us directly, you know what I mean, or everybody.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because there's people out here doing the work, there's people out here doing things that don't hit social media. But at the end of the day, like that's because I for the second time, I don't want to talk about this topic. But that was my only thing with the Kendrick and Drake thing. It's my only thing with any beef. We come together for shit like this, but we do not come together when it's time to work. Like we do not,
Yeah.
even if we're coming together and disagreeing with how we're gonna do the work, we just don't come together at all.
Mm-hmm.
And we come together too much when it's some drama.
Nah. I agree with that. I agree with that. That's I we talking black. I'm just saying what I'm saying just for context. But I mean
Yeah.
that's everyone almost. Like everybody loves bullshit, but we gotta
Mm-hmm.
love the good shit and the productive shit as much as we love the bullshit. You know what I mean? We gotta prioritize us more than we prioritize other people. And that's our number one thing, man. And prioritize the good in us and not just the negative. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We prioritize the good in everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just we lost as a collective. We just lost. It's
I
fucked up. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of tough to talk about. It's really tough to talk about because it's like damn, man. It's really in my mind. It ain't that hard. I feel like getting reparations. I know exactly how to get them. I don't know everything, but I just feel like I know how we get them. It's so
Mm-hmm.
simple. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But the ideas that I even got, I don't even feel like a motherfucker would drop they nuts enough. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
like we got all these, Malcolm X had an interview. He was talking about black leaders and like how our black leaders are always like entertainers and shit like that. It's never nobody like, but you look on the white side of them, ain't they leaders? Their leaders are like the presidents and
Mm-hmm.
fucking the Rickenbackers and the
Mm-hmm.
Rockefellers and the whatever whoever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? All our
Mm-hmm.
black leaders don't have no interest in us whatsoever. If Jay's I'm gonna end up getting in my bag, but if if a nigga like Jay was coming out saying certain things that we should be doing, it's like it would change it would change a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because he
Mm-hmm.
is a black leader to a lot of people, but he ain't gonna do that because that takes money out of his pockets. A motherfucker, and I'm a Kendrick guy. Some of the things I'm talking about, I've heard in the music, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like obviously, with the and he's always had this core fan base, and he's a big artist, but obviously now being a bigger artist with this situation, the only thing people really want to focus on is the bullshit and what he's saying. It's like, do you really go back and get these other gems about how we can be better as a people, how we can fix broken families, how we can fix our mental health? Like, does that shit matter?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's just like it doesn't feel like it matters. It doesn't feel like it's prioritized. So we 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 just lost. We
Yeah.
lost.
Nah, 100%. And it has to be different ways that we pedal it. Like this is my only thing with the Kendrick situation is I understand how people feel, and I definitely do see the messages and imagery in all his music. But
Hmm.
as a people and as a fan base, we can't keep saying we waiting around for somebody to lead us. Like there's been Prince's, Michael Jackson's, like James Brown. We've had people at that magnitude saying the same shit.
He
So at
has an
some point,
interlude.
people have to do the
He,
work.
he has an interlude where he says like Kendrick may have inspired you, but he's not your savior. Future told you to get a money counter, but he's not. He's not. They
Yeah,
aren't. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? That doesn't mean that they shouldn't. And I'm not talking about him, but it doesn't mean that certain artists and certain people that are larger than life to our community shouldn't use their voices for things. It doesn't mean that, but
Hmm.
it does mean that we can't be just solely relying upon them. I mean, if they're not going to do it, they're not going to do it. We got to find another way, But
Yeah.
that
Well,
also
people
that
don't.
also that also goes into a better selection of black leaders
Yeah,
and that's not champion a motherfucker because they made us dance in the club.
yeah. the reality is some of the people in the crowd need to step up and be the leaders. And what people don't understand about people in those kind of positions is when you become Superman, you're putting a target on your back and everybody close to you. So you can't just be telling people your secrets and letting people know how you move and hanging out like everybody hang out. Like you have to move a certain kind of way. You know what I mean? So that's a big reason why those aren't our leaders. But the reality is most of our leaders were getting killed and people scared now. That's what I meant about the coddling. Like people are afraid to step up on that podium because they've seen what can happen. But the same thing can happen in your neighborhood. The same thing can happen at your job. Same thing can happen in the club.
How many times do you hear people talk about Martin Luther King's entire family being murdered after he was?
Rarely ever.
His mom was murdered, his brother drowned. It's like, it's really fucking crazy. Like, they try to scare the life out of us, scare the confidence out of us. They break us and they put fear in our hearts, and we just so fucked up, and our inability to really truly recover from certain things is very sad. It's very sad. It's very tough.
But I think it all boils down to, again, what you said in the beginning, as we're our own worst enemies. The only way the system would fail is if we all just left.
Hmm.
And people ain't ready to leave. Let's call
Yeah.
a spade a spade. So you can give them their 40 acres, you can give them their money. Eventually, they're going to give it right back,
Hmm.
and then start renting
Absolutely.
it back from them.
I mean, but you got to ask yourself. I mean, we kind of been imprisonated to believe that. You know what I'm saying? That you know they glorify the negative early on. You know what I'm saying? We taught that even in school. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always pinpointed on the negativity. You know what I'm saying? Never. You know what I'm saying? What was the word we used last week? Was just kind of. Um, Damn, I done got caught up with it, but basically, you know, when we revisiting this situation and going through these things over and over, we never looking at the positive aspect of it, only the negativity of it, and
Mm-hmm.
it impersonates our minds into believing that this is what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
This is the new normal, and you
Yeah,
know, until we get out of that mindset, until we start realizing that this only as normal as we make it. You know what I'm
facts.
saying?
Hmm.
Why not? Why not be different and step out and do something different today? Who says that that can't be the new normal?
Yeah, and look at how
Right.
many times normal changed. You dig? Like 2020, they had a whole map for us of how life was about to be, and none of that stayed the same. And here we are.
None of it. It's really crazy when you think about it. But
Yeah, and a lot of people just don't remember it or don't think about it or we're too young. But and
hmm
people made this crazy uproar about it, and everybody was scared and worried and nervous and buying toilet paper and shit. And now
hmm
look at the world.
yeah, it's crazy.
I
Very
wasted a
interesting.
lot of money on that shit.
And
I bought all that toilet paper and paper towel. My damn basement flooded. Man, I was pissed.
yeah,
Man,
yeah, I wouldn't say it was a waste though. We still got to evolve and adapt to whatever conditions and things like that.
the
It's just one of those.
survival.
Yeah, yeah,
It always makes me, especially the state we're in now, it always makes me think about all the stores that's closed, like over my lifetime, like the giant stores, the ones that you
mm,
like. This about to be open the rest of my life, and then one day they like, nah, we done. Come get all this shit.
Look up and see they
Take it.
gone.
mm.
We can't
Insane,
use it. Come get it.
insane,
Out of
insane.
nowhere, bro. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of stuff. I always tell people, especially in business, that should be getting you fired up. That should be getting you
Hmm.
motivated and show you like there ain't no powerhouse that just stays at the top. That's an ever
Never.
revolving door.
Yeah,
So you gotta
never.
put your foot in it though.
Take
That's one
charge.
thing about that for sure.
You know what I
Initiative.
mean? And there's a lot of business rooms I've been in, and there's a lot of excuses I've heard. And one of the biggest ones that always annoys me is like, "Oh yeah, I got kids." Like nigga, everybody got kids. Like I don't, that ain't stopped nothing from
Yeah.
doing nobody from doing
Kids,
nothing.
like I said earlier, man, kids are the motor. They put it's like having a V8 within your life, like, you know what I mean, within your realm. Like there's having a kid has enabled me to where it's like, yo, nothing can stop me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even just because the person exists. It's something that comes within when you know you have a certain level of responsibility. You know what I mean? That like it kicks you in another gear, man. It
Mm-hmm.
kicks you in another gear. It just does. Y'all parents, so y'all get it, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like you said wholeheartedly, it changes your focus. It
Hmm.
changes how you have to think, and you become more cautious, and you become more patient and more understanding, you dig? And what people don't understand is that kind of work and healing is going to benefit your life in every area. That's not
Right.
just going to make you a better parent. You know what I mean? These are life skills. These are things that
Hmm.
are going to help you in that interview, help you in that meeting, help you on that date. And that's what we have to learn. We have too many things separated in life, and everything is the same. You dig? We just have to be ourselves in every single situation,
Hmm.
and things gonna work out. You feel me? So how do y'all navigate the rough waters?
In what regard?
The day to day. So when you're not feeling your best, when life seems like it's trying to get to you,
The
what
mental
do you,
health stuff.
yeah, what do you do to find peace? What do you do to stay on track?
I speak to myself out loud. Speak to myself out loud.
Okay.
I listen. I like vinyl records. Calm my spirit. Um, those would be like the main two things. I try to make everything I do about me when it comes to like my mental health stuff. You know, you could be like, oh, I'm gonna call my daughter. God forbid that this happens to any of us. What if one day they're not here?
Hmm.
You know, I can't allow everything with my happiness to revolve around a person. You know,
Hmm.
so I'd always I just try to do things and say things to myself that make me happy. You know what I mean? I couldn't even be with nobody that didn't understand that. I can't
Yeah.
be around anybody that doesn't understand that. Like it has to be all about you in those moments where things feel rough. It got to be
Hmm.
all about Tim, all about Twan. Like it got to be all about you. You know? Yeah, I think that's my answer. Yeah, pretty cut and dry.
Okay. Yeah, I
Hmm.
feel that. What about you?
Yeah, that was pretty, dope response to that. I mean, honestly, man, my go to is just music, man. I'm a music head, you know what I'm saying? As we know, want to craving to learn this DJing thing bad because I feel like if nothing else, that's gonna be it. Like, but I mean, the sense of music in general, I cut my music on, and like he said, I go look in the mirror, man. I might not say a word. I might just sit there and stare at myself. And, just constantly telling myself and reminding myself inside my head, like, do you know what the hell you've been through?
Hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, I ain't never had no storm. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Whether, like I said, I closed the casket on both of my parents pretty young at a young age. So, with that being said, it's like, what's hard? I mean, what's a bad day? What's a trying time? Something not going my
Hmm.
way. Everything not going as planned. Like, I used to listen to my dad. He say, "You want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans." And it's like that's a true statement in that sense. It's like you plan things to be a certain way. You want them to be a certain way. Sometimes you even put the work and effort out there for them to be a certain way. And the bottom line is that it don't always go as planned. No matter how much work you put in, no much. Oh man, I gave all my effort. I gave all I had, and that may be the case. But at the end of the day, like some things just simply don't go as planned. So I mean, being able to kick back, relax, and what I'm saying, take your mind away from so much negativity and so much of the problem. You feel me? I feel like listening to the music, I eventually start answering questions without asking myself. You know, I might be just sitting there in my zone listening to my music, and I start thinking about the problems I got, and instead of me speaking them problems out loud, I immediately start thinking about what's the positive side of this? What can I do to fix this? This is
Mm-hmm.
what bothering me. Like, what can you do to make that better? And like he said, it can't be on, is somebody else gonna save it or somebody else gonna make it better? What can you do to make it better? You know what I'm saying? And it's not too many times that I can't figure out an answer. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, and I think if we all put forth the effort, it's not too much that we could never answer that question. Like, that's a question that every single last one of us should be able to answer.
Mm-hmm. That's real. Yeah, I'm along the same lines. I either like my silence or music. Just something I can focus my mind on and allow things to play out. I think too many times our worst experience in a situation is us thinking about it. You dig? And we beat ourselves up in our minds worse than the situation actually handles us. So a lot of times I ask myself, am I going to care about this tomorrow? Am I going to care about this in 2 weeks? Because a lot of us have to work on not just our anger, but our emotional input and output. You dig? Our emotional intelligence, knowing when to apply which emotions, knowing when to vent, knowing when to just let things go. So for me, is I think every day is the storm. You dig? I always use that reference like from the Hawk. You dig? Like when bro said how he learned to manage his transformations, he's like, I'm always angry. Like I'm always in that state. I've just learned to be comfortable in it. I've learned not to be destructive in it. I've learned not to, protrude it onto other people and project it onto other people. And a lot of times that's why we feel so overwhelmed when we are high energy people, because everyone has their own experience with that. You dig? Everyone has their own experience with us. So we have to realize like we all have that power, whether you believe it or not. And your journey is not learning how much power to use. Your journey is moderation. It's learning to rest. It's learning to take breaks. And you work on your power in practice. Too many times we try to wait for the fight to learn how to fight. Like it's too
Hmm.
late now. You dig? This
No.
Yeah.
has to be one of those parenting prerequisites like we was talking about last show. You have to work on things as a parent you might need in 2 years. You might not even use it right now, but you got it and you've been practicing, and when the time comes, okay, I'm ready. Real life is the same way even if you don't have kids. You dig? Like that's what I mean by everything's the same. Everything should be looked at on a similar level. You dig? So for me, I'm learning every day can be a challenge, but every day can be an opportunity. Every day can rain, but every day can be sunlight too. So it's not thinking of it in one way or other, but experiencing everything, seeing all sides it can be, and then accepting whatever it is. Like, because our only journey is relinquishing control. We want to control too many things that don't want to be controlled. You think, or not in our means of control. So it always leads us back to that acceptance, finding that closure, accepting like I might not be the person to get the trophy. I might not be the person to run the last lap, but I'm gonna pass that baton. I'm gonna run as fast as I can, and I'm gonna get it to them, and they gonna run as fast, and I'm gonna cheer them on, and I'm gonna pay
Y-
attention to the race. Still, I'm not gonna take myself out of it. You feel what I'm saying? Like
Your
that
best
has to
you,
be the
your
journey.
your your best you is always good enough.
Yeah,
But it's up to you to figure out what the best you is. Even if it's something that don't end up being for you, if it's something that you don't end up being able to achieve, whatever the case may be. I mean, as long as you were the best you, then that's really all that matters. Like that's how I look at it. Because there's
yeah.
always something out there for everybody, no matter what regard you're talking about. You just always have to put your best foot forward and figure out what the best you is and apply that. You know, and I think that you get everything you want.
And you need the best people around you for you.
Hmm.
You dig? That's a big thing that plagues. I feel like our entertainment industries, especially music, especially when it comes to athletics. A lot of them get to a place of being successful and their friends mess up the bag for them, or their
Hmm.
cousin, too reckless with the mouth. You dig? So you also have to be mindful of the people around you, because that is just as much a representation as what you putting on Facebook.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely, man. and it's a battle that never ends. But just stay on the,
Excuse me.
as long as you stay on the right side of it, man. I feel like it's impossible to fail. Honestly, when you
Hmm.
stay on the right side of it, it's impossible.
That's something I want to ask you. We touched on that last week too. Do you think there could be family and business? Do you think that's something we can achieve in our generation?
Yeah, of course,
And it'd
because
be like a norm, like, and not be rare.
The new norm.
anything, not even being funny or trying to give a cliche, anything is possible for Black people, just regardless, right? Especially by definition of what you view family as. You
Hmm.
know, you can always eat with your people,
Hmm.
always. That don't mean all your people know how to eat the right way, or that don't mean all your people are willing to eat with you. You know what
Right.
I mean? And then that's another, another
Yeah.
conversation. Are these really your people? But your
Yeah.
people that are your people, it can always work. Everybody can have a different role where it's not affecting one another. There's always a way to do it. I think that it's possible. Family can be in business. I think family should be in business. Kind of
Hmm.
touching on what I said earlier. Everybody else do it.
Hmm.
What's so different about us doing it?
And make it work too.
Mhm. They
Yeah.
do a damn good job at it. We the only ones that ain't got it figured out.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a narrative that's painted, early on. You hear, older people tell, they kids that, like family can't work with family, you know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
once again, like I said, in the Black community, we imprisonate our mind to a lot of things that ain't true. And, if you already been taught that the first adolescent years of your life, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, eventually that's kind of where your mind go, and people grow up believing that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I mean, asking yourself again the question that you said, is it family? If you can't do business with them, is that your family? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, is these really your peoples? Like, if you gotta even question about certain things when it come to that, is these your family? Is this who you would want to consider as family?
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of, treating people how they are to be who they are. Um,
Hmm.
if I feel like you my friend and I feel like you do certain things that I may not condone, you know what I'm saying? I'm just never gonna put myself in a predicament to for you to do those things around me. I mean, that don't
Yeah.
change you, being my brother. That don't change you being my family. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta want better for myself to know that I can't condone something that is not me. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that's hard to do in today's society. It's like,
I, I partially agree. Um, it is there are things that I will completely denounce anybody for. Anybody. We can no longer be brothers. Or we can no longer be brother and sister. We can no we can I would denounce anybody. Anybody can go. You know.
give me an example of that.
You I can give you an extreme. I'm gonna go all the way. So like
Always left field.
I'm gonna go. I know for real. Like I'm gonna give you such an extreme just to make it make sense. Like
Nah, I feel you.
somebody that in their own time they may like fuck with children, fuck with kids.
I knew you was gonna go there.
And I'm
And
only saying that because it's like a lot of times when it happens, it could be a motherfucker that you would sometimes they know the creepy uncle dynamic, but it could be somebody totally where it's like, yo, what?
it's
Or like
always gonna be stipulations and it's always gonna be situational. So when I make
right.
these statements, I'm
So
gonna make the statement
yeah,
boldly.
I was like going all the way, but if I could think of something maybe just general, something that's like more likely to happen, like somebody that's like I don't know, disrespectful to women, like a over misogynistic person, not somebody with a little misogyny. I think but somebody that's like an extreme misogynist, or somebody that's like somebody that may have different political views. depending on what the reasons are, though. You know what I mean? Some people could like Trump, some people could like Kamala, whatever the case may be, right? Some people could like Trump just for certain reasons, like it saves me money on my taxes. You know, I could provide for my family more. Like there can be solid reasons, but people could also like Trump because he's like, yeah, he super fuck these niggas without saying fuck these niggas, so that's why I fuck with him.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So everything deserves a introspective outlook on it before you make a decision like that. But I'm just saying, like, it can be anybody can go. I don't no nobody's exempt from being a good person morally um when it comes to being around me. Nobody's exempt. I don't care who you are. I got super close friends. When I was young and doing dumb shit, some of the dumbest shit. You know, I could be in jail, I could be dead, whatever. And it's like niggas that's still living like that I was around. Why would I want to still be around them when I'm a father, great career? I'm not living my life like that no more. Especially when it ain't that they just living a life like that, they're trying to project it upon me.
Mhm.
Or they give me like feelings of like survivor's guilt, like they stuck in the same position while I'm off doing what I'm doing, and I'm supposed to feel guilty about it. You know what I mean? And they don't even know that they're doing it. Like things like that, I gotta start making a separation. I have to. And yeah, man, we were once brothers, and now we're not. That can be a thing.
I always been a fan of what's for you is for you. What's not for you is not for you. I mean, like you said, morally, when it comes to shit like that, I'm speaking on the lighter end of it. You know, I trust people to be who they are. I don't put no more effort into not trusting you. You know what I'm saying? I trust you to be who you are. I trust that, you know what I'm saying, if, like I said, if you a person who do something that I don't condone of, you know what I'm saying, I trust you enough to know that I'm never gonna put myself in that predicament for you to burn me in that way. But when you get to speaking of that, that's why I said I knew you was gonna go there. Morally, you know, like you said, at that point, anybody can go.
That's why I gave you like an extreme, but I
Yeah,
also tried to
always.
give
That's
you,
why I said you going left.
but
I knew exactly what
yeah,
you about to
but I
say.
also tried to give you something that's more
Yeah.
like day to day. Like at least that was something for me. Like on the day to day, it could be something as minuscule as those things, but they may not be minuscule to me, or they may not be minuscule to you.
Mhm.
I,
Like,
I
but
fell
Mhm.
out
generally,
with close friends at a young age that didn't have respect for their mama because it was something that wasn't for me. My
Mhm.
mama was dead, so you know what I'm saying. Like me and you could be the closer boys, and you know what I'm saying. I could see you disrespect your mama, and it could change my whole perspective on you. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't no coming
Mhm.
back from that. So I get what you're saying, and,
yeah,
and and that's a statement of morally saying, like I said, what's for you is for you. Everybody gonna
Mhm.
have their different things that they just can't tolerate. Should nobody be dealing with no pedophile or no rapist? I don't give a damn
yeah,
on
and
no
like I said, I,
aspect.
I know it was a little like extreme,
Nah, you had to
but
paint a picture. You,
Yeah.
it was just to immediately be able to combat, but also
Yeah.
like I said, I wanted to give you something that was a little more like common or something that could happen.
Yeah.
So
when I
yeah,
make
And
that
what I
statement, though, I'm thinking about shit like, let's say, how you a flight attendant and you deal with, the rap battles and stuff. Okay, one of your brothers might be, what I'm saying, trap star of the year. You know what I'm saying, and that don't separate you from being my brother, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm never gonna put myself in a predicament for me to get burnt because of your shit. And the statement you made, like, I'm a parent now. So casually thinking, I'm not jumping in the car with just anybody. I don't know what you got in the car
mhm.
with you. I don't know what you do on your normal day. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that don't stop you from being my brother. I'm just never gonna
yeah,
put myself in a predicament to allow your bullshit to burn me.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly though. So, but things like that can create divide. It can make somebody be down. Why you acting funny? Or I
Yeah.
hate the damn. I hate. I'm trying to get like you. I hate it. I hate it.
Mhm.
It's like, who the fuck am I?
It's a sense of
Yeah.
jealousy you feel when a person say it.
I wouldn't even just say I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't say it all is rooted in jealousy though, if I'm being frank with you. I think that it's also people like people can be happy for you and be ashamed of themselves. You know, that's where survivor's guilt more comes into play, and you can kind of
Mm-hmm.
feel it. I don't think that everybody that's ever said that to me, or even most, were jealous. Um, I think it was just like, damn, like
They
you
don't have
really.
to be jealous of you to necessarily have a jealous trait. When you make that comment in general, I don't really care who you talking to. When you make that comment, it's a jealousy trait that's coming that's coming from. That statement is made from a jealousy trait. You know, and that don't mean that this person necessarily jealous, like, yeah, I'm jealous of Doc. You know what I'm saying? Doc got this that I want. Like, nah, but that statement ultimately is two things that I would say, you know, it's gonna go between. And that's envy and jealousy, you know, because that statement, for you to make that statement, your mind had already done processed something
Yeah.
past that you ain't saying. You know, it just stopped at that statement. I'm gonna get like you, or I'm trying to get like you know what I'm saying? Like, but ultimately, where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't wake up and make certain statements. And that's the
But I
statement
Mm-hmm.
feel
that
like I do feel like some people could just see your life and genuinely be happy for you, and genuinely be like,
Mm-hmm.
man, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do something like that. Or I wish. I don't think it all has to be rooted in something negative. Sometimes
I can
people
see
could just
both
feel,
sides, but
yeah, like some.
I don't think jealousy is a negative thing though. So I agree. I agree with both of y'all. It
jealousy
can and
could be a
cannot be
person
jealousy.
motivation. You could use jealousy for motivation. You could feel like, you know what I'm saying, even you wanting to see me do better, me you knowing like, all right, this dude in a good space and I want to see him do better. You know what I'm saying? Like that jealous statement to me, and I mean, like I said, it's just my personal thing. When you make that statement, it's out of some sort of jealousy, but that don't mean it's always in a negative manner, as he was
Right.
saying. Like, I could be jealous and that could be pushing me to be a better me. I could be using my brother being where he is and his statue to motivate me to get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
not always necessarily a tear down thing, but that's just the root of that word. Them the two words that come to mind to me is
Mm-hmm.
envy and jealousy, regardless of
That's
if it's a negative or a positive manner.
that's where I see the other side of it, and I definitely agree. That's where I see the other side of nothing positive can grow from that type of conversation. I do agree it's harmless, and you know what I mean. I don't think it's intentional. You dig? But I do also think naturally that's what's keeping us at this greatness is how we challenge each other and how we look at each other's success, but it's pushing us to secular and solo greatness. Like we're not all benefiting from it. So I definitely see what both of y'all are saying.
Yeah, yeah, nah, and it makes sense too. Like I said, I've definitely seen both dynamics. When you're talking jealousy or when you're talking somebody getting fired, I've seen every
Mm-hmm.
end of it.
Yeah,
So it's not always bad. It's not always good.
yeah. And I think that's what's part of us pioneering and creating this new world. Like no one knows what it's supposed to look like. You know what I mean? And no one has the blueprint. I think that's why it seems like we're so far behind on the scoreboard. Is because we don't really know how to keep track of something like this. And we've never been in a position to have this consistent growth. Like a lot of what our culture was start and stop, start this new opportunity, then it's this new opportunity, then it's this, and now we're all getting in a position to where it's like, okay, this I can make this my career. You know what I mean? And these are different conversations that now we have to be in different rooms. And I think sometimes what plagued me on this path is I stayed in certain rooms too long. I had outgrown the room and outgrown the conversations and outgrown the space. So that becomes an internal journey. Like we have to know when to leave. And sometimes we try to wait around for the moment to present itself. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Or for people to ask us to leave. And it's like, nah, you have to realize you ain't you the smartest one in the room, this room. You know what I mean? So the only thing you can do is perpetuate that stillness. The only thing you can do is what you've done before. and we're gonna keep getting the same thing. We're gonna keep getting the same results that we
It's
gotta
as
settle
simple.
for.
It's as simple as just being you, and putting your best foot forward, like we were speaking on earlier.
Yeah,
You can't lose.
yeah.
You applied your best self, you can't lose in any regard. And even if you do lose, you didn't lose.
Hmm.
As long as you put your best foot forward, that's a win within itself. The
Man,
win.
bro, that's the biggest part to me is putting yourself out there.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I love that I'm seeing a lot more entrepreneurs show people videos of like them in conferences and them in meetings. Like you have to put yourself in the field you're trying to be in. You have to put yourself in these rooms because people in these rooms right now having
Right.
these conversations, making plays. You dig what I'm saying? Training, studying, taking classes, picking up new skills. So we got to start learning how to do that at home, like where we are, and building that up from the ground up. You dig? But
Hmm.
they doing that around the world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll get there. I know we
Yeah,
will.
yeah,
I know we will.
absolutely.
As a collective, we'll get there.
Nah,
I
that's a
think
fact.
I think sometimes we rely too much on the internet and we rely too much online, and we got to get back to face to face. You know what I mean? Like we got to get back to in person meetings and actual meetings of the minds.
Yeah, real human communication.
Yeah, bruh. It's gonna change. It's gonna change how we communicate with each other to begin with, but also I think it's gonna get more motivation, just
I
like
think I look
how
at
it
it like
is.
this. I don't think the Black Panthers would have took off if all their meetings were virtual.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
They wouldn't have took off. People
Absolutely
would.
not.
It would have just been like, you want to do what, nigga?
Yeah, and a
Okay.
lot of
Yeah.
work they did. They had to be present. They had to deliver the food and pick the food up, and you know what I
Hmm.
mean. Walk women and children home in the school and stuff. Like
Hmm.
that's the stuff we got out of. Like I'm I don't know. I'm still not with the wave of like Uber kids and stuff like that. Like I don't, I just think we getting too far in convenience.
Too comfortable.
We
Yeah,
giving up a
that's the
lot of
best
security
word
and
to say
safety.
it. Too comfortable. That
Hmm.
comfortability be, kind of the downfall of the black community with anything, just getting comfortable with it. Um,
Hmm.
knowing that today changes every day is different and every day is new. In today's time, you watch some of this stuff that go on, some of the stuff that happen, and you ask yourself, well, how did that happen? How did these kids get abducted? And it's like, the everyday thing that you feel like is okay until something tragically happens. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? As simple as letting your kids walk to the bus stop at 6 in the morning. It's still dark out, you know. But all this stuff is the normal that we've been seeing and we've been doing. But until something tragic happens, it's never, what I'm saying, shined upon. Like I've never been a fan of letting your kids walk to the bus stop by themselves. Letting the kids. I used to get up home from work, and you would see the little girls getting off the bus, like 6, 7 years old by themselves. It's like I got a
Hmm.
daughter this age, and I would never let her catch the bus and just get off by herself and walk home. Like,
Hmm.
but this is the normal, man. You gotta ask yourself,
People too busy,
yeah, shit, yeah, yeah,
and it's
Yeah.
showing us what's important really to them. You dig?
Priorities.
And like you
priority is
said, that's
everything.
sad, bro. It'd be hard to watch. It'd be hard to comprehend.
I'm
You
getting
feel
at that
me?
point now, man. I think that like I said, the normal is just starting to become, not the thing no more. It's like I
Hmm.
it's like I find myself kind of, even if I don't necessarily go against the grain, but I put myself mentally there to figure out what is that other side like. What
Hmm.
other conversions could be made here? You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
you see shit going on when I hear conversations and I hear topics and I hear everybody on one side, I automatically stop and try to put myself on the other side. Like it's not to be a rebel about it, like, oh yeah, I just want to go against the grain. It's to understand that other point of view. And sometimes people fail to realize that understanding that other side will sometimes change your mental, because it's cool to hear just your points and your facts on your side, but when you start hearing it on the other side, you start realizing it, well, this conflict with what I think, but
Mm-hmm.
this what they saying sound right. And it
Mm-hmm.
conflict with what I've been taught my whole life. You know what I'm saying? This my normal, but what they saying make more sense. But it conflict with what I've been taught my whole life. And that's the point of, being um, you know, I won't say a critical thinker, but damn near a critical thinker is
Yeah.
realizing that, you gotta decipher the difference between bullshit and basic knowledge. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? I could sit here and talk and talk and talk. And if you're not mature enough to listen to everything I'm saying and decipher between what to go in your ear and what to go out the other ear, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of just not you having that self accountability and knowing when to check yourself and how to check yourself. A lot
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
of us don't know how to check ourselves.
Oh man,
We,
we hate authority. a
even
hundred
when it's
percent.
us inflicting it on our own self, like we hate
Yeah.
authority so much that we don't even like to be checked by ourselves.
Yeah.
We had
And
And that's
that's
authority and we
scary.
had to be accountable.
yes, bro. And I do think a lot of it is directly related to we need more representation. We need to see ourselves in positions of authority. And that's one thing you ain't gonna see in this country, and it's not gonna be the norm. We always gonna be off to the side, or security guard at the door, or holding the door open, or driving a limo, you dig? And that's what people feel comfortable in their own life and as their norm. And that's what we was talking about as being a parent. Like you have to see further than yourself. You
Hmm.
have to think about how this is going to help the community, how this is going to help the people around you. And we have to dictate our life more in those ways. And too many times it was for the money or it was for the pleasure, but it wasn't substance and it wasn't real. And now we left with nothing. It all evaporated and we like, wait, I had all these things and we
Most of
can't
it.
use
Hmm.
none of that. Where are we going? You dig?
Yeah,
So
fact.
now we have to reconstruct with things that we actually know, things we actually use. And the first thing is, yeah, it's that consciousness. It's problem solving. That will help us start dealing with accountability. That will help us start being able to take constructive criticism from people that look like us. Because we can take it from
Absolutely.
everybody else, you know what I mean? But when it comes to talking to each other on that level, like, yeah, those is along the lines. We have to raise our standards to that. Because I'm the same. Like, I can't consider you my brother if I can't tell you about yourself. You're not my brother.
Hmm.
We not what we saying we are if I can't have that conversation, pull you to the side, like, yo, tighten up. You know what I mean? And I expect you to be able to talk to me that way as well. Like
Hmm.
that has to be a prerequisite. And a lot of times that's what I was referring to when I said we coddle each other and we don't always hold each other accountable. You dig? And sometimes we calling each other out instead of calling each other up. And that has become the norm with us, that drama, you dig? And you can have understanding and not agree. For the people at home, you dig? So I have to tell
I
people at
say that
therapy all the
shit
time.
all
You
the
know, you can
time.
understand where someone's coming from and not agree at all, but that
All the
doesn't change
while.
anything about who either one of y'all are. You
I
dig?
say that
Like,
shit so much, and people are so confused by it. Yo, I understand what you're saying. I can understand why you may feel this way. I can understand. I understand.
mm-hmm,
Do I agree with it though? As in, is this exactly what I would do or how I would react? Or do I think the way you're reacting is right based upon what I would do?
mm-hmm,
No. Doesn't mean I don't understand why you did it or why you feel this way or etc. Like,
mm-hmm.
you know?
That's one of
So,
those teachings that we have to break away from. That's a passive way of thinking that we were taught. Like everyone has to be agreeable, everyone has to like me, and I have to be comfortable with everyone because then there's no confrontation. And sometimes confrontation is good. You dig? You ever try to make an omelet? You feel me? Like sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty, like to get your point
mhm.
across and get to the end. But at the end of the day, truth is all that we're after. No one's after ever trying to be right in a healthy conversation, a healthy
Mhm.
situation. We're all getting our perspectives because it's a whole world of people who feel their own way about even what we're talking about. You dig?
Right.
And too many times with how we were raised and how we were taught in school, they told you think like this, or this is the truth, and this is fake. You dig? And really in your life, it's up to you to figure out what those things are. It's up to you to figure out what family means. You can't just go with the person you most attracted to telling you. You can't go with the person who got the most money. You dig? You got to ask yourself, okay, what's best for me? What am I trying to get out of life? You put people in your life and then life sorts them out. Life decides who's who. You dig? Life puts people into their categories and we got to accept that. Like that's a big part of understanding too is acceptance. You dig?
Mhm.
And once we get to these spaces, bro, that's just getting started. That's why I said a lot of us might have to accept it might not be our generation that's carrying the last baton. Like we might be the
Right.
one starting the race. And that's okay because the race is still happening. Like whether we see it or not, whether we having a good day or bad day, you dig, the race is happening. That's why I love our people because we're resilient. We won't give up. You dig?
Nah,
So as long as we keep that mentality, like, man, we always gonna be good. We always gonna be fine. Because at the end of the day, this is all like we built this world. Everything you gonna see in the world is reflects us and reflects our
Mhm.
brain and our genius and our craft and our artistry. You dig?
It does. That it does.
So I want people to see that when they look in the mirror. I want people to see that when they really checking in with themselves. See your greatness too. It's easy to pick on your flaws. It's easy to tell yourself what you need to work on. But how many times do we stop and congratulate ourselves and give ourselves grace just for being alive? Chick, we had to keep ours that way. You did.
nah,
Yeah.
that's a fact.
So what y'all brothers want to leave us with? We're gonna leave the people with some insight, some insight on our lives. Where do we want to be? You dig? We're gonna manifest. Where do we want to be? What are we trying to do next in life?
Um, the next thing that I want to do in life, or the message I want to leave people with is I want to continue this formula that I have of choosing me at the necessary times, um, and also being okay with choosing other people at the necessary times. Though it's always about me, when I'm down and when I'm up, it should be about other people that we love and that hold us down and keep us together. So make sure y'all taking care of your villages. Uh, but in order to take care of your village proper, make sure you're taking care of yourself proper. It's kind of what that's what I want to send off with.
That's real. What you got for us, brother?
Man, we're gonna lead the day with we're doing it just on parenting and you know the different avenues of figuring out who your family is. Remember that it's always a mirror, man. You always got to look at yourself first, man. And when we start asking why this person ain't doing this or why this didn't turn out like this, um, kind of like you said, hold yourself accountable first before you even go looking for them type of answers about anybody else. And I think that's one of the main things that we need to focus on this week. You know what I'm saying? Like, I challenge y'all all the challenge yourself every day to wake up and ask yourself, like, what can I do better today than what I did yesterday? You know what I'm saying? What changes can I make in my life today that's gonna affect me tomorrow? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And definitely start to, like I said, ask yourself, what didn't I do today that I should have done? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think when
Hmm.
we start really getting the grasp of that and we start doing that on a normal, I think it'll be stop being so many conversations about the negative part of what everybody is not doing and why this is this way. Self accountability is one of the things that we gonna need to make any type of changes today. Like, and if it
Mm-hmm.
don't start with accountability, like, I can't accept you coming to question me about myself when you ain't checked yourself. Like,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
That's real. Dang, y'all really touched on what I was gonna say because that to me is the pinnacle of family. It's the foundation. There has to be accountability, and for a lot of us who are stepping into a position of leadership, the eyes are going to be on you, all the eyes, and you do have to hold yourself to a higher standard. And sometimes we slack in those positions and we get comfortable because we've built up this mountain and now we're comfortable at the top. So remember always, no matter where you're going, remember the foundation, remember the fundamentals, remember what helps you get to where you are, and keep practicing those things. Always practicing. Like, so I tell my writers that all the time, you should be writing every day, even if you're writing on walls or toilet paper, your hand, whatever. Just make sure you're putting what you want to do into practice. You did, because it's gonna happen when you want it to happen. When you're ready to make it happen, it's gonna unfold. Um, this has been a great show, man. It's been a great
Yeah, I
show.
enjoyed it. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
it was
this.
a pleasure having you, man. Always when you come through, like you always doing something different every time you come through.
Yeah,
That's what I
man.
like to see.
Just try to stay busy. Stay busy. Stay smiling. Stay exciting. for myself though, you know.
That's real. Tell them where to
Yeah.
find you at, brother.
So on Twitter, I am the Battle Rap Doctor, with just DR at the end, and on Instagram, I am Doctor DOCQTOR. You can follow me on both of those. And I'll follow you back, and I'll be looking forward to the next episode.
Yes, sir. Where they find you at, Twan?
Now I'm only on platform right now, and it's Facebook, Antoine Overstreet, which we are linked here in the caption. IG, Antoine Overstreet. You know what I'm saying? Just the basic name, man.
Y'all can find me Good Life for Us on everything. Make sure y'all be cool, man. We out.
Appreciate you, bro.
Y'all be safe. Good show, Doc.